Going, everybody? Um, it's Coach Cherry here from the Wedgehurst Rillaboom, and I'm here to do the Week 2 pick'ems for the SRL. So, right here on the screen right now, you see the standings from last week. We had a couple pretty dominating victories, specifically from the Lavender Town Gangars, as well as the Nashville Needle Kings and Cerulean City Mewtwo. Um, the Gangars were 5-0 victory, and Nido Kings and Mewtwo were both 4-0 victories. Um, we also had a couple close matches, though, as we see my team, the Wedgehurst Rillaboom, who faced off against the Lisbon Arcanines last week. We ended in a 2-2 tie, and he got the slight victory over me because of the HP. And then we have the Flapples and the Fargo Phalanx that also ended in a tie. But as you see, the Phalanx got the slight victory there too. So let's get into it now. So we have the Week 2 pick'ems here. And let's see. So first up, we have the St. Louis Swablues, who are 0-1 against the Cerulean City Mewtwo, who I just mentioned before, had their dominating victory in Week 1. So let's check out their teams real quick. So the Mewtwo have Gengar Gmax, Dracovish, Mandibuzz, Scizor, Flygon, Rabombi, Galarian Slowbro, Hitmonchan, Miltank, Meowstic Male, Thwackey, and Wartortle. So those last couple are actually very interesting there. I've heard that they can be very serious threats. So let's go scroll down to the Swablues here. So their team, it's actually a very, very good team, I think. But they just were unfortunately on the wrong end of the game last week. So they have Venusaur Gmax, Kyurem, Crocodile, Primarina, Colossal, Lucario, Kanto Ninetales, Pinsir, Rotom Fan, Kadabra, Wailord, and Porygon. So, just looking at these teams overall, and knowing a little bit about the past seasons, I gotta give it to the Cerulean City Mewtwo here. Like I said, they had that dominating victory last week, and I think that they're just going to continue the dominance this week. They have a couple hard hitters and a couple dark horse Pokemon, like I was saying, the bottom few here. Excuse me. Especially as you can see here, the Thwackey, who got 2 kills last week, and he didn't faint. So, yeah, that I think the Mewtwo's are one of the favorites to win this whole thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if they ended up 2-0 this week. So sorry, Swablues, but yeah. Next up is the New York Nickets versus the Celadon City Porygons. Now, these teams both were on the losing end last week. They, let's see, the Nickets were one of those teams that got beat pretty bad at 4-0, and the Porygons just a step above them, losing to the Immunity Idols there with a 3-0 loss. Now, let's see who's going to get their first win here. I would say, let's see, so the Nickets here, Gmax Caparaja, Excadrill, one of my favorites, Cobalion, Silvally, Gigalith, Rotom Mow, Mantine, Sandaconda, Stoutland, Raboot, Coughing, and Shedinja. Now, let's see. They let's see, who did they get? They got their Gigalith got a kill, and their Gmax Caparaja got a kill. And they also brought Excadrill and Rotom Mow, Mantine, and Stoutland. So that's a pretty decent team. But let's go see the Porygons. Okay. They have Dreadnought, Gmax, Terrakion, Porygon Z, one of their mascots, Klefki, Arctovish, Gallade, Magneton, Drifblim, Leafeon, Drakloak, Rapidash Kanto, and Solrock. So you can obviously, I think, expect to see their mascot there. Even though it didn't perform very well last week, as it didn't get any kills and was knocked out. But I think that this team right here is poised for the victory and getting their first win. Sorry to say it for the Nickets, but I think that, well, one, the Gmax Dreadnought is a big threat, setting up the Stealth Rocks. And again, the Porygon Z is also a pretty big threat in my opinion. And I just think that overall their team is better and has a little bit more potential here. So congratulations to the Celadon City Porygons and getting their first win of the season in my pick'ems here. Unfortunately, that would mean that the Nickets would go down to 0-2, though. All right, so let's go on to the next one. The next one is the Nashville Nidokings versus the Falador Flapples. So this is a game where the Nidokings right now are ranked first in the Sword Division with their dominant victory last week, 4-0. And the Flapples, though, they're in third place, even though they lost, because the Sword Division performed kind of poorly last week. But they are in third place with a tie game against the Fargo Phalanx last week. So let's see their teams now. So we got the Nashville Nidokings here. They got the Gmax Rillaboom, Clefable, Blissey, Togekiss, Quagsire, Charizard, Toxtricity, Vanillix, Shiftry, Alolan Sandslash, Behem, and Unova Stunfisk. This team seems like it's a very bulky, very very defensive team here. Specifically looking at that Blissey there, and the Clefable as well. They are both pretty defensive players, but the Clefable especially could be a heavy hitter as well. I like this team a lot, actually. Mostly because of this Gmax Rillaboom here, because Rillaboom is my team mascot. But I like these top four quite a lot. Even though last week it seems like he didn't bring the Clefable, but his Togekiss put in some work, and so did the Gmax Rillaboom. Rillaboom getting 3 kills, and Togekiss getting 2, and neither one getting knocked out. And then the Vanillix here getting a kill and not getting knocked out. And then the other team. Did I miss them? Where are they? Oh wait. It was. I'm sorry. I'm blanking. Oh, it is the Flapples. Okay. Oh, wrong button. Okay, so the Flapples here. They have Gmax Charizard, which is always one of the more obvious threats. Kind of surprised to see that they didn't bring it last week. and I would expect to see it this week, being that he's facing off against G-Max Rillaboom. And then they have Corviknight, Tangrowth, Torkoal, Araquanid, Noivern, Obstagoon, Rapidash, Galar, Toxicroak, Piloswine, Togedemaru, and Kanto Persian. Yeah, this team overall I think is really good. It looks like they tended to go with a lot of their lower tier guys last week, which might have been a reason why they came out short. Let's see. It looks like they brought Corviknight, Tangrowth, Obstagoon, Galarian Rapidash, Piloswine, and Togedemaru. I mean, that is a good team, but this is a tough choice for this matchup. But I think if the Flapples here can put together the correct team, I think that they'll have a chance. So I got to give it to the Flapples here for my pick for that matchup. Next is my match, the Wedgehurst Rillaboom against the Galar Greninjas. So let's go to the Greninjas first. We are both 0-1. Let me just check that real quick. So we were both 0-1. Like I said, I tied with the Lisbon Arcanines in a 2-2 tie and just lost because of the HP difference. And it looks like the Galar Greninjas were on the wrong end of the dominance by the Lavender Town Gengars. So, let's see how things shape up here. So he's got the G-Max Toxtricity amped up form, Zeraora, Celebi, Gyarados, Golisopod, Pincurchin, Alolan Raichu, Centiskorch, Lapras, Rhydon, Thievul, and Pikachu. Those are all pretty good Pokemon there. So let's see. There's no data here. I guess we forgot to input that data for him last week. But I would expect him to bring his top two there, the Toxtricity and the Zeraora, and probably Gyarados. And then he might bring his own Lapras. I have the G-Max. He probably will bring that one. And the other two, I don't know. But I think that he's got a very good team. He just ran into a very, very good team last week with the Lavender Town Gengars. So moving on to my team, the Wedgehurst Rillaboom. So I have, like I said, I have the G-Max Lapras, and I have Dragapult, Gastrodon, Venusaur, Braviary, Drapion, Frostlass, Abomasnow, Turtonator, Oranguru, Trevenant, and Dunsparce. I have a lot of really good Pokemon here. I think I have a very wide variety of types and type matchups and coverages and stuff. But yeah, I think that I will be able to hold off the Greninjas here with my team. And that might be a little bit of me being biased because, it's my team. So yeah, I think that I will take the victory there. Next up, it's the Stark Mountain Giratinas, who are coached by our commissioner, Manny, versus the Wild Area Renegades. So, the Stark Mountain Giratinas won last week, and the Wild Area Renegades unfortunately took the loss. Looks like the Stark Mountain Giratinas took a close victory 2-0 and against the St. Louis Swablues, and the Wild Area Renegades took a 4-0 loss against the Mewtwo. So let's look at their teams. So we got the Wild Area Renegades. I like their logo with the G-Max Butterfree there. But they have G-Max Flapple, Mew, Gengar, Rotom Wash, Caporaja, Hitmontop, Talonflame, Alcremie, Tauros, Alolan Dugtrio, Grapploct, and Morgrem. Now that's a pretty good team. And let's go with the Giratina here. So they have one of the bigger threats in the G-Max Snorlax. I know in the past when I've done competitive battling, the G-Max Snorlax is probably one of the ones that I hated to see the most because of its G-Max Replenish attack. Then they have Cinderace, which is another big threat, even without being G-Max, because the regular Cinderace can have its hidden ability. Then they have Hatterene, Azumarill, Dusclops, Mienshao, Dragalge, Vileplume, Steelix, Rotom Frost, Musharna, and Emolga. So they have the Stark Mountain Giratinas have a pretty good team here. And it looks like their Dragalge actually took control of the game there with 3 kills. And then their Snorlax got 1. Just looking at the teams alone here, I don't know, I gotta give it to our commissioner and the Stark Mountain Giratinas there for a victory there and going 2-0 for the start of the season here. Alright, so the next up would be the Lavender Town Gengars versus the Helgen Hydreigon. Like I said before, the Gengars had the most dominating victory last week, and the Helgen Hydreigons are right behind them with a 4-0 victory. So I expect this to be a very good matchup, and this is our first of 2 matchups this week, I believe, that will guarantee an undefeated team after 2 weeks. So let's see, the Gengars versus the Hydreigons. Let's look at their teams here. So the Helgen Hydreigons, they have G-Max Inteleon, Volcarona, Sylveon, Duraludon, Heracross, Claydol, Dusk Lycanroc, Delmise, Quillfish, Stunfisk, Kanto Raichu, and Clefairy. Now, just looking at their team here, they have the kills leader after week 1 with the Dusk Lycanroc, who got 4 kills and did not faint. And then they have their other threat was Heracross with the remaining 2 kills. So I definitely would expect to see both of them back, and I would expect even more dominance from the Dusk Lycanroc. But let's scroll down to this week's winner here. And he has G-Max Corviknight, Mimikyu, Amoonguss, Arcanine, Galvantula, Inteleon, Mudsdale, Aromatisse, Morpeko, Kanto, Mr. Mime, Sneasel, and Wobbuffet. So Unfortunately, we don't have the stats here, but I think that the Gengars have a great team. They have pretty much a Pokemon for everything. They have the Galvantula for the sticky webs. They have Amoonguss for poison coverage and sleeping and stuff like that. Then they have the G-Max Corviknight, who is one of the better G-Maxes in the game. And Mimikyu, who I've always hated to face because of its ability. And then they also have one of my favorite Pokemon in Mudsdale. Yeah, I think that this team overall is great. And I would love to see, in the end, it be Inteleon versus Inteleon here. Even though one is G-Max. I think it would be a great ending to the battle, but I think I still have to give the edge to the Gengars. They have, I think, the advantage here. Obviously, they had the dominating victory last week, so I think they just build on that. And I think they are going to be 2-0. Now, on to the next one. The Rallygoons versus the Lisbon Arcanines. So, the Rallygoons... the Rallygoons, who were on the wrong end of a loss there last week, losing 4-0. And they are facing off against my opponent from last week, the Lisbon Arcanines. And like I said, we tied 2-2. So let's take a look at their teams. So the Lisbon Arcanines, they have the G-Max Hatterene, Urshifu Single Strike, Alakazam, Indeedee, Tentacruel, Decidueye, Scyther, Lycanroc Midday, Klinklang, Kanto Sandslash, Lantern, and Mawile. So, this team, I have to say, after facing them, they were really tough, especially with that Indeedee and Mawile. Mawile was definitely a Pokemon I didn't really expect to see, but I think it was a big reason why he was able to outlast me last week, because of its Intimidate ability and because of its Baton Pass and stuff like that. And then he obviously has the threat of Hatterene G-Max and G-Max Smite, and his Single Strike Urshifu, which I think one-hit KO'd 2 of my Pokemon. So yeah, his top 2 are definitely big threats, and obviously Indeedee is always kind of an annoying thing to deal with. And he, as you can see, he brought his Alakazam, but he didn't even get a chance to use the Alakazam because we ran out of time. So let's see his opponents here. The where is it? The Rallygoons here. Okay, so they have the G-Max Duraludon. They have my mascot in Rillaboom. They have Chandelure, Scolipede, Diggersby, Jellicent, Shuckle, Druddigon, Ninjask, Kangaskhan, Licky Licky, and Dedenne. So they have a good variety of Pokemon here. They have one of the most famous stalling Pokemon here in Shuckle. And they also have a couple hard hitters here in G-Max Duraludon and Rillaboom. And they have a couple other pretty good ones. But, I don't know, after looking at these, I'd have to say I think that the Lisbon Arcanines will take the victory here. and they will go to 2-0 along with the Gengars. And then here's our final match of the day, or of the week, I'm sorry. And that is between the Fargo Phalanx and the Immunity Idols. And this is the other matchup between the two undefeated teams. So like I said, after this week, we will have at least two 2-0 teams, possibly and probably more. And we will also have a couple 0-2 teams, unfortunately, but that's to be expected, especially for some of the newer coaches. But let's get into it. So the Fargo Phalanx are 1-0, and their match was similar to mine. With the Falador Flapples, they, I guess, went to timer and ended in a tie, with the Phalanx having a little bit more HP. And they are facing off against the Immunity Idols, who had a 3-0 victory over the Celadon Porygon. So let's go to their teams now. So we have the Fargo Phalanx, and they have Gmax Grimmsnarl, Chansey, Mamoswine, Milotic, Heliolisk, Surfetched, Whimsicott, Doublade, Xatu, Butterfree, Seeking, and Noctowl. And they have some pretty good Pokemon on this team. They have another one of the big stallers in Chansey. And as you can see, they brought it last week, but Chansey went down. But they also have another big threat in Gmax Grimmsnarl, who last week got a kill but did not get killed itself. So that's a big plus. Then they brought Mamoswine, who it looks like didn't get any action, and Milotic, who got a kill but did not get killed. And then they brought Heliolisk, who also looks like that didn't get any action, and Xatu, who didn't get any kills but was killed. Overall, I think that they have a pretty solid team. And then let's go find the Immunity Idols. So they have the Gmax Cinderace, which is a threat, but in our league, we banned the hidden ability for Gmax Cinderace because having the Gmax ability plus the hidden ability would be just way too broken. And then they got Komodo, Starmie, Galarian Weezing, Bronzong, Umbreon, Vikavolt, Dusknoir, Roserade, Leopard, Hoenn Linoon, and Palpitoad. So I think that this team has a very good team, obviously, and I think that one of the Pokemon that was kind of a surprise to me last week when I saw it was the Bronzong that got 2 kills. I mean, that definitely wouldn't have been a Pokemon that I was expecting to be a heavy hitter when I looked at this team. But now that I saw that it put in some work last week, now I know to look for it. And Vikavolt too. It survived with a 2-0 there. And the Komodo with a 1-0. Surprisingly, it seems that they brought the Gmax Cinderace, but I don't know if they just didn't use it or what, but it doesn't have any kills or deaths, so I'd have to go back and look at that again, but they did bring it. Yeah, looking over these teams, though, I would have to probably give it to the Immunity Idols to go 2-0 here. I just think that they have a better overall team, and I think that their GMAX Cinderace, even though it didn't do anything last week, I think it has a very good chance of doing some work this week. So to recap, I would say that the Cerulean City Mewtwo, the Celadon City Porygons, the let me just check that one again. The I believe it was the Nidoking, but I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, I would say that the Nidokings are going to win that one. And then I'm putting the money on me because I gotta believe in myself. And then I think that the Stark Mountain Giratinas are going to win. The Lavender Town Gengars are going to win. The Arcanines are going to win. And the Immunity Idols. So I think that those are all the picks I have for you today. I look forward to what we got in store for you next week.